Well, everyone, we're going to be doing another phone comparison, and I was kind of already kind of sick and tired of doing the SE 2020 comparison, so it's good that we can talk about an Android phone now. And the OnePlus 8 just came out, and honestly, it was really hard to get. I couldn't get it on pre-order, and then they had a rebatch and remake of them, and I still couldn't pick it up. So I'm glad I was able to finally get it. And between both, I mean, I think these are probably going to be the biggest competitors when it comes down to like the budget-esque phone because they both are pretty much starting at the exact same price. The OnePlus 8 is selling for I think $699, and the iPhone 11 is selling for that exact same price as well. And they're for the base models exactly. So I don't think one is like an insanely more expensive, S tier phone like that, but definitely there's some cool advantages for both phones which I really do like. Now in this comparison video I'll talk about, the way they look, the feeling of them in both my hands. I'll do a little bit of a speed comparison, a little bit of a camera comparison here and there, but I'll probably make separate speed and camera comparisons for all of it. And if you want to pick up either of these phones, I'll leave links down in the description so you can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now looking on the outside, I guess I'll start off with the iPhone 11. Now this is the design we pretty much have already known for a minute now. We're pretty much already familiar with it. It's that 6.1 inch display. It's a liquid retina IPS panel, and it's not like a bad panel. I think at this point everybody already knows it's not an ugly panel, but definitely when you look at other phones, that beyond just the resolution in the panel itself, when you look at the features that other panels are bringing, including the OnePlus 8 with that 90 hertz refresh rate, with that basically hole punch display and stuff. That's a really nice looking display, but also it has those features of having 90 hertz. So that's something that the iPhone 11 does not have, and you have to kind of keep that in mind. So yeah, the panel doesn't look that bad, but you also don't have those cool features that maybe the OnePlus 8 will have. Now you do have True Tone on it, which is really cool. It pretty much just warms the display a little bit, which makes it look really, really nice in my opinion. But pretty much that's the display. You have, a little bit of thickness around the bezel itself. You have the notch up top, but other than that, I'm pretty sure everyone kind of knows what this display looks like. Whereas on something like the OnePlus 8, we have a 6.55 inch Fluid AMOLED display. It is a 1080p display, and I think it's a really good looking 1080p panel. The viewing angles are really good. I'm looking at it from a really weird angle, and it still looks pretty good to me. The brightness is a little weird because, it just seems a little bit too bright to me, which I think is a good problem for most people to have when I'm connecting it to cameras, whatever. But you have very little bezel on the whole around display. You have this kind of edge-shaped design, which we've seen on the OnePlus 7 Pros and stuff like that, where the hole punch display on the top left camera. Now what's really weird is that my OnePlus 8 came with a screen protector built in, but my OnePlus 8 Pro did not come with the screen protector built in, so I don't know why that happened, but it is what it is. And the display on this phone looks really nice. On top of it looking pretty decent for a 1080p display, it looks really good in my opinion. You also have that 90 hertz refresh rate, which is extremely awesome. That's a humongous plus for this phone. Now it doesn't have that 120 hertz refresh rate that the OnePlus 8 Pro has, but I still think 90 hertz is extremely good for this type of phone. And when you're feeling it in the hand and everything, the panel looks really good. Viewing angles, like I said, are really good as well. So between both, I would definitely end up siding with the OnePlus 8 because, it does have that better panel. So kind of keep that in mind. That's kind of where I would leave the fronts at. In the feeling of the hand, they both feel kind of the same. The OnePlus 8 does have that kind of new texture matte design that OnePlus 8 that the iPhone 11 Pro had also. On the bottom, lightning port on the iPhone 11, USB Type-C on the OnePlus 8, and on the back, glass backs on the back like I stated, wireless charging on both phones. Now you have a triple camera setup on the OnePlus 8, but a dual camera setup on the iPhone 11, and I will talk more about those briefly in a second. On the left side, power buttons on both. On the other side, which I think this is the left side I messed up, the volume buttons here. And like I said, the way they feel in the hand and everything, one doesn't really blow the other one out of the water in my opinion, but they both feel pretty good for the most part, which is still really, really good. So in terms of the overall outside, I might end up siding with the OnePlus 8 just because it feels that much more premium, and it feels like a very, very good phone. The display looks really good and everything. But again, I think the iPhone 11, still, has its ground for sure. But definitely when you feel the OnePlus 8 in the hands, you can feel kind of how outdated the iPhone 11 might feel, especially when you have those features like that 90 hertz refresh rate and different things like that. So in terms of the outside, that pretty much covers it. Now hitting on the software, this is probably one of the more interesting aspects for sure. The OnePlus 8, the OnePlus series, I think the software is probably one of its biggest advantages. Even though the life cycle might not be too crazy long, the software itself is still pretty decent. And I think for sure the OnePlus 8, in terms of an Android phone, has a pretty decent life cycle and track record of the software being pretty good. But still, that doesn't really compete with iOS. Apple, lasts their phones for such a long time that if you get this phone now, it's going to be lasting for many, many more years, and it's probably going to double the lifespan of the OnePlus 8, maybe at least 2-3 years. So for sure the iPhone 11 will beat you in terms of software. but I still think the software experience on Auction OS is still really good. I like Auction OS a lot. It's a smooth experience overall, and between both, like I said, I don't think one is like crazy. They're both like lasting for a long time. If you get them now within the first year or two, they're still going to be lasting for a very long time. So software support long term, the iPhone 11 will win. But as of right now, they're both still supported, which is still really cool. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it. Now I'll go ahead and hit on the speed, and I'll do a little bit of a speed comparison too. The OnePlus 8 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and Adreno 650 GPU, and there's two different models, the base model with 8 gigs of RAM and the top tier model with 12 gigs of RAM. The specific model has 8 gigs of RAM, so it's the base model, whereas on the iPhone 11, it has that Apple A13 Bionic chip, hexa-core CPU, and 4 gigs of RAM in all the models, so it doesn't really matter which model you get, they all have the same amount of RAM. So with that being said, let's go and do a little bit of a speed test between these two and see which one is the faster performing phone. Okay, now that we're back, let's go and clear out all the apps in the background, and of course the OnePlus 8 is done, but with the iPhone 11 we have to constantly scroll through all these out. Hopefully iOS 14 can bring something new with that, but I have these third-party apps downloaded so we can just kind of run through a couple of these. I probably won't get through all of them. I don't want this video being too long, but let's go and do like Twitter, for example. 3, 2, 1. And the OnePlus 8 just a little bit faster for sure. It was definitely noticeably faster for there. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 11 faster, followed by the OnePlus 8 at some point. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And OnePlus 8 seemed to be faster. I think I am in my account on this one, so a little bit of a difference there. Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And the OnePlus 8 was faster there, followed by the iPhone 11 at some point. Now let's get into some gameplay. Now, so far the speed comparison, one hasn't really blown the other one out of the water. They both are kind of like the same thing, to be honest. One sometimes is faster, the other one is sometimes faster, but Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 8 faster, followed by the iPhone 11. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. I think we were loaded here. I don't even know what happened here. That was extremely weird. What's going on? Okay, we'll just leave that one as inconclusive. That one doesn't matter. Let's do stack, 3, 2, 1. And I think the OnePlus 8 was faster to get into the ad, followed by the iPhone 11. Just, a little bit behind it for sure. Doodle Jump, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the OnePlus 8 actually was faster there by a little bit. The original Temple Run, let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. The original Temple Run, for some reason, I always have to restart it because I'm like in the middle of a game. It looks like the OnePlus 8 is actually getting there faster. The iPhone 11 is a little bit behind it. It's not too crazy behind, but as you can see, the OnePlus 8 is loaded. The iPhone 11 eventually gets into it, but definitely for sure the OnePlus 8 was faster there by a little bit. Let's do Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. And OnePlus 8 is faster, followed by the iPhone 11 just a little bit behind. Getting into some gameplay, let's see if there's any differences. And yet again, I don't think one blows the other one out of the water. They look kind of the same, to be honest. And we can go and end it off with Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, that one was a little weird. Now, one thing I really do like with the OnePlus 8 is the animation seemed to be a little bit smoother than on the other Samsung and Android phones that I've tested. And you can see the OnePlus 8 is already loaded into the game, where the iPhone 11, it will be a little bit behind it, I'm sure. As you can see, we eventually get into the game on the iPhone 11. So between both, I actually do think the OnePlus 8 might be a little bit faster, but I will have to go and test it thoroughly for my full speed comparison that I will probably do at some point. So keep a like down on the channel so you guys don't miss that. So between both, I would probably end up siding with the OnePlus 8 being more times than not the faster phone, but I still think sometimes the iPhone 11 might be the smoother phone, because even if you saw it, sometimes I would click on an app and there would be a little bit of a glitch on the OnePlus 8, whereas on the iPhone 11 it seemed to be a little bit smoother. So either or, I think for sure at the end of the day the iPhone 11 is maybe the smoother phone, but the OnePlus 8 is probably the faster phone. So just like the speed comparison, I'll do a full one, I'll do a full camera test too, but I'll briefly hit on them in this video. The iPhone 11 has two 12 megapixel sensors, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, and then an ultra wide sensor, where the OnePlus 8 has a triple camera setup, a 48 megapixel wide angle lens, a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, then a 2 megapixel macro lens, and both can do 4K at 60, which is really cool. But in my opinion, what I was able to see, I think the iPhone 11 might just have the better quality photos and videos, in my opinion. When I was taking photos and videos on both, it seemed to me that the iPhone 11, I think, had the better quality camera However, I do like OnePlus 8, and when it comes with the whole entire features that the camera brought, you have actual pro versions of the features that you're able to mess with. You can mess with a lot of those different things, which is really cool. On iOS, we really don't have anything like that built in natively on stock unless you want to download like some other third-party camera thing from the software in the App Store. But I think in terms of the features, maybe the OnePlus 8 wins, but in the camera quality and photos, maybe the iPhone 11 wins. But like I've stated, I'll do a full separate camera test, but this is just a quick one so you guys can kind of see what the main differences are. Now I'll go ahead and hit on the battery life as well. The OnePlus 8 has a 4300 mAh battery. The iPhone 11 has a 3110 mAh battery, and between both, I mean, they both have pretty good battery life as far as I've tested, but I kind of do think that OnePlus 8, if you keep that screen at 60 Hz, actually has pretty good battery life, and it might just be a little bit up there with the iPhone 11. But I still think the iPhone 11 is pretty close to it too. I don't think one is crazy better than the other one. I found that standby time I think is still better on iOS than the iPhone 11, but the OnePlus 8 still has pretty good battery life too. So I don't think one blasts the other one out of the water. But maybe the OnePlus 8 is just a little bit better. But even me saying that, I mean, you can tell there's not one that's like way better. I wouldn't get one over the other just based off battery life, if that makes any sense. So to kind of sum up the video, man, to answer the question, I mean, which phone should you get? I'll be honest, like, I think the OnePlus 8 is probably the overall better phone. I think you're getting a better hardware, you're getting a better screen, you're getting better screen features. The software is still really good on the OnePlus 8, but I think long term, maybe the iPhone 11 will probably be the better choice. You know, I feel like you're getting more for your money here, but in a couple years, I feel like this phone will be worth more of your money than this phone will be in a couple years. So it is what it is, but maybe you guys have made a decision that, I don't need to be involved with, but let me know which one you would rather pick up. Would you rather pick up a OnePlus 8 or an iPhone 11? Let me know in the comment section below, but that's really pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.